Docility, or cattle temperament, can provide some entertaining discussions in many coffee shops, but it also has an economic impact. Work done at Certified Angus beef documents more than $62 difference between docile and aggressive cattle on a carcass grid. Quality grade differences are also prevalent between docile cattle and nervous or aggressive types. Luckily, docility EPDs serve as a reliable way to improve temperament.
While some may consider docility to be a convenience trait, we recognize a huge economic impact that can be carried through to the end product. Work done at Certified Angus beef documents over a $62 difference between docile cattle and aggressive cattle on a carcass grid. You can also see quality grade differences involving docile cattle compared to more nervous or aggressive types. This has a huge economic impact long-term along the cattle chain. From a genetic perspective, one of the nice features about docility or cattle temperament is that it tends to be a more highly heritable trait, indicating that selection for docility to improve cattle temperament in your herd can be effective if you have a genetic selection tool. At the association, we generate over 300,000 docility EPDs each week. The calculations for the docility EPD include the scoring results from Angus breeders turned in on individual calves at yearling, as well as any genomic information that is available to include in the calculations. As with other EPDs, we include a 4-generation pedigree, extensive relationships among animals, as well as the individual records. It's important with each scoring session that you utilize the same subjective evaluation of your cattle, particularly chute side when you're collecting other information such as yearling weights or ultrasound scans at yearling time. The important part is to be consistent within that contemporary group that you're evaluating, measuring their quietness as compared to any nervous or aggressive behavior while they're being processed. If we review an example of docility EPDs, they're reported in percentage, with a higher value being more favorable. Just like with other EPDs, we take the difference in the EPDs between two animals, or two sires in this case. In this example, if we look at the difference between a 12% and a 2%, we're expecting a 10% difference in docility or cattle temperament in the future progeny of these two sires. Well, what does that mean? Ultimately, on the average, you would expect 10 more calves out of 100 to be in the most docile category, favoring Bull A over Bull B. An important consideration to remember when using docility EPDs is that if you currently have no temperament problems in your herd, then you won't realize any effectiveness of placing selection pressure on the docility trait.
Visit angus.org to learn more about docility EPDs.